Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? Yeah, it's the Night Owl Radio Show, and we are back. We're happy to be back for yet another installment of the Night Owls. Well, if you're just stumbling upon this radio show, that's what it is. It's what it is. That crazy music in the background is yours truly. And that's what we do. We just hang, we talk, we chill. And if any of you out there who know how to make a radio station, promote a radio, if you dig what we do, it'd be great to hear from you. How to grow the show, but of course what we do here is quite different than most radio shows, and we're quite we don't throw it out there on Facebook, or we don't tweet regular show notes, but somehow we've managed to come up with quite a few subjects and listens. So what we're going to do today is we're going to bring on Tamale. We're going to cover Buckethead. Hey, yo, Night Owl. What's up, man?
What's up,
Not much.
Tamale here.
What's up, Tamale?
We do a documentary today. We want to do a little documentary special on. We're going to do a documentary on Buckethead.
Buckethead.
All right, everybody. Buckethead.
Are you listening out there,
ready.
Buckethead? Tune in, Buckethead. We got a show for you, Buckethead.
Alright. Carol, known as the Bucket, is a shredder. Everybody is a guitar player. He's worked everywhere. He's done all kinds of snappy, snazzy stuff.
Snappy, snazzy stuff.
The guy,
Alright, we're going to turn that music down.
plays,
We're not going to play that music because
an instrument called the electric guitar. And anybody out there who's ever heard of the guitar is like a piece of wood with 6 strings attached to it. Some people play 7 strings. Some people break the strings and only play 3 strings, but Bucket usually plays 6. He's released something like 295 albums. He's got
that's 295 albums, not songs.
Intro, a special guest on something like 53 other solo albums, not to mention obscure stuff.
Damn it, Night Owl, why do you keep talking when other people are talking?
And the guy plays, so he's not a man, he's a robot. He's not a robot, he is an alien creature from outer space. I don't know what you could call this music, Night Owl. This is like some funky, bluesy,
interdimensional,
jazzy, avant-garde-y. It's
shreddy.
not avant-garde, because avant-garde would be a sort of music that was invented in the 60s by Ornette Coleman, and a lot of people don't understand that avant-garde is a different waveform of jazz. It actually helped destroy jazz, so let's not put avant-garde attached to Buckethead.
Yeah, Buckethead definitely did not try to destroy jazz.
And anybody out there, Buckethead is quite famous for wearing a gigantic chicken KFC bucket. When you go to KFC and you order the full bucket of chicken, he wears that bucket of chicken on his head as a statement of his veganism. and
Are
he
you
puts
sure?
KFC, death to KFC type of antics, and I'm not sure if KFC actually allows him to endorse them, but they just are like, well, what the hell, we can't keep this guy from wearing one of our buckets on his head.
Yeah, I don't think KFC has a patent on people not wearing buckets of KFC chicken on their head, but are you absolutely sure Buckethead is vegan?
So, basically he's talking about how KFC is one of the people that are every day destroying the vegan movement.
Is that right?
And but some say it's not about veganism. They say it's about Michael Myers. And personally, Night Owl.
Halloween?
Personally, my theory is that Buckethead wears the KFC bucket on his head as a form of a joke in dedication to the zombified Slash, who basically they said after Guns N' Roses his career was dead. So basically Slash's career was dead, dead in the dust after Guns N' Roses. And so Buckethead wears the mask as a zombified Slash, as a sort of subconscious tribute to Slash, which later on actually became I believe one of the things that got him hired by Axl Rose, who could have hired any number of hundreds of guitar players, but decided to hire the man who looked like Slash.
Okay, so you're saying that Buckethead did not intentionally put that KFC bucket on his head, knowing that he was going to in the future be a zombified version of the rock guitar icon Slash, but somehow deep in his subconscious he is a soothsayer, a sort of a premonitionist, someone who knew his imminent future, which would be to join Guns N' Roses, which is of course the biggest gig in rock music. Even today, I think it's one of the biggest gigs, which is not saying much because the rock industry is so bad right now. But so he put it as a zombified version of Slash in his subconscious, and he just started wearing it. And I guess that's how he got the Gibson endorsement too.
But of course, a lot of people say that Buckethead wears the bucket on his head because he grew up in a chicken coop, and he absolutely has pets for chickens.
He loves chickens.
A lot of people say that he came down on a spaceship that looked like a bucket, and the people that were piloting the spaceship were a bunch of chickens. And some people say that Buckethead's only friends in his life have been the chickens.
Yep.
But then again, you have the mask, which, of course, a lot of people claim that has something to do with Halloween 4 and the return of Michael Myers, because at one point the mask and the bucket changed. It was first a Jabberwocky, then it was a Japanese mask, but now we have a KFC, but then the KFC went to a white, no letters, sort of a bucket.
A white bucket on his head.
And the trademark is the bucket on Buckethead's head. And it is worn in conjunction with a zombified Jabberwocky mask. Which, of course, we could attribute to
Mike Myers.
The Jabberwockies, the dancing, nunchaku robot dancing figures you would see on these streets. But let it be known that Buckethead is a master of the nunchucks. And the man dances more robotic than any human has ever danced. Of course, may attribute his dancing to his affinity for the dancers of the Michael Jackson movement, the 80s dancers.
The break dancers.
The street people, they used to tap dance on the streets, and they used to go out in the middle of New York, and they used to street dance and break dance. And then along with them, we had this movement in the 90s of a bunch of people walking around New York City with buckets. Now, I don't know if you remember, we used to have these people in New York City that used to get a bunch of buckets, and they used to sit on the corners. and they used to strike the buckets with sticks, and they used to make the buckets their
drum set.
They used to make a full drum set out of nothing more than shower buckets.
They were
something you
Bucketheads.
get at the local Motel 8 to fill your ice.
Yeah.
And they used to fashion these buckets on the street.
The ice buckets.
And they would hit these buckets with their with their sticks, which looked like nunchucks.
Mm-hmm.
So we could have had Buckethead walking around looking at these guys and then seeing the KFC nearby and then the Jabberwockies close by and the street dancers.
Uh-huh.
And voila, everything finally all came together one day when he was watching Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Mm-hmm.
And
it all makes sense now. The Jabberwockies.
The man is no joke. His guitar playing is no gimmick.
Blue Man
actually
Group
really play, which I will say impresses the hell out of most people who think they're going to watch a guitar player that's just doing a bunch of things. Guitar Magazine voted Buckethead number 7. He was the number 7 out of 10 of the fastest shredded guitar players of all time.
Okay.
I don't know how accurate that is because there are.
I think he was number 8.
Guitar players are a lot faster. Buckethead is not about speed. It's not about virtuosity, even though he has some virtuosic moves. But to me, it is more of a statement. It is a statement that has grown out of the head of Bootsy Collins, Bill Laswell, Iggy Pop, Bernie Worrell, Serge Tankian, Bill Mosley, Viggo Mortensen, Mike Patton, Axl Rose, and of course the unknown names, Michael Myers, Leatherface, and of course I think Slash. Because this guy also, at the same time, was studying with Paul Gilbert, one of the best shredders of all time. And then again, we have the monster, a real monster, the Sean Lane gigantic influence over Bucketheads. Bucket. The cloud of Sean Lane
Pepper's
that
Ghost.
follows Buckethead.
Pepper's Ghost.
Everywhere he goes, taunting him and haunting him. That if he doesn't do these interval chromatic whole tone stretches every day, that Sean Lane will haunt the living room of Buckethead in a most overbearing fashion.
Oh, in a horror-like movie.
But I think we could attribute pretty much the entire Halloween franchise to
influencing Buckethead's style, his demeanor, his countenance.
We also know there's little
vibe,
evidence, but we do understand that Buckethead himself has been shown up on the set of certain major motion pictures and has written for
which ones?
The Mortal Kombat Annihilation series. Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie, The Last Action Hero.
I didn't know Buckethead was in that.
Also featured on Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat?
The Beverly Hills Ninja.
Chris Farley?
Saw 2 and the Ghost of Mars.
No way.
And
is that Eli Roth?
If you really want to listen to some of his music, you can check out that song Firebird, featured on the Mighty Morphin's Ranger, the movie soundtrack.
All right.
But if we were going to go back to the early days, I would say we could take it as far back as 1987, where Carol basically entered the Guitar Player
use his
magazine
name
contest.
God damn it.
And impressed a few, and especially Jazz Obrecht. And Jazz Obrecht had a serious interest in trying to cultivate the career of Buckethead. And Buckethead and his parents, and Obrecht form a partnership where Buckethead even moved into Obrecht's house and took lessons on the music industry.
He didn't have to move into his house.
Later releasing a demo tape in '91 of his band, the Deli Creeps.
The Deli Creeps.
And
Deli Chicken. The Deli Creeps.
After that, Buckethead hooked up with Derek Bailey in '91. John Zorn, Alexander Belenescu. And after a couple more demo tapes, the Giant Robot and the Buckethead Blueprints
was born.
The Buckethead Land was formed on John Zorn's Japanese avant-garde record label in '92.
Based on Disneyland.
At this time, Buckethead hooked up with Bill Laswell. And of course, Bill Laswell's been famous for knowing the Limbo Maniacs, which of course the drummer Brian the Brain Mancia gave Laswell some help in trying to bring up this new up-and-coming crazed madman. So around 1992, Laswell, Worrell, Bootsy Collins, Brian Mancia, and Buckethead formed a group called Praxis. And they released Transmutation, which was the first album. And they also featured the System of a Down, Serge Tankian, and this continued on until about 1993. Around that time, Red Hot Chili Peppers were holding auditions for new guitar players, which Buckethead was one of the three that were decided, and eventually it went to Eric Marshall. And of course, after that, Buckethead went and auditioned, and of course, Dave Navarro took the part.
Okay, so Buckethead auditioned for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I did not know that. He would have been an interesting guitar player, actually. I don't know if they wanted a guitar player, though, without a bucket on his head. That probably lost the gig for him.
So, after this, in '94, Dreamatorium was released. Death Cube K.
Death Cube K,
and that was supposedly a separate entity. And it was like a Darth Vader Buckethead sort of image.
Lord Vader.
But right after this came the Giant Robot, which featured Iggy Pop and, of course, the horror icon, Bill Moseley.
I thought you were going to say Leatherface.
And
Bill Moseley's good enough.
It was all inspired by Johnny Sacco and his Flying Robot, you know, that whole Japanese series.
Oh, of course.
He also released 2 more albums, Praxis, The Sacrifice, and the Metatron. Around 1995, Buckethead hooked up with Sean Lane. And,
did a few gigs in '99.
Everything he could from Sean Lane, Paul Gilbert, and Jonas Hellborg, Michael Shreve, Apartment Q52, the entire New York scene. And once again, we can hear Buckethead's contributions on that little-known Keanu Reeves movie, Johnny Mnemonic.
An interesting
later in '96, Buckethead released The Day of the Robot. And this was with the keyboardist Pete Scatoro. And it was a small Japanese label, not many people. But of course, Deli Creeps was also one of Buckethead's new albums that saw its second incarnation. And Buckethead also, around 1996, was little known. He was the music behind the Sega Saturn television ad. In '97,
the Sega Saturn,
we heard Buckethead Plays Disney, a new album highly anticipated.
Buckethead Plays Disney,
personal sort of album.
I'm sure Disney loved that one.
That much recognition, but in '97, This is where Buckethead started doing a few of the movie soundtracks.
Which
and
one?
Praxis also kind of ramped up some touring. Released the Transmutation live in Poland, and the Death Cube K released out their new album in '98. The Coma album came out.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. What we're going to do is we're going to play...
Buckethead released his 5th album.
We're supposed to right now play a Buckethead tune.
Collaboration with the Les Claypool from Primus.
Yeah, Primus. I know about that. And we're supposed to play some...
Monsters and Robots.
Some Buckethead right now,
and,
but...
the album included the Ballad of Buckethead.
The Ballad of Buckethead. I got it tomorrow.
And I don't know how else should we play some... Let's play a little bit of music.
Well, you know, if we play some Buckethead music, chances are... This track won't make it to YouTube because you know how YouTube is with the playing of other people's music. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play one of our tunes and as a tribute to Buckethead. How about that? We're gonna play one of our tunes to kind of give you a little bit of music, and that's our own music. So. Buckethead, if you're listening, that's it's one of my tunes right there. So we make sure not to play one of your tunes because that's how it goes. That's how it goes, and that'll keep this. If you're just tuning in, we are talking about we're talking about Buckethead. Any of you out there who's not familiar with Buckethead, you could check out some of his music, and yeah, that's what we could do. So we could also all right. So let us.
I make my holiday entrances like I make my delicious fried chicken. That's right. The hard way. Okay, I'm stuck. Well, I'm not going to let this stop me from telling you about my delicious $20 family fill-up. It's a feast of a meal, hand-prepared each and every day.
Skipper, let's see what the Colonel got you.
Yes.
The Colonel didn't leave us out.
She liked it, right?
It's a $20 family fill-up. That's a great home-cooked meal that we don't have to home-cook.
The KFC bucket. So let us continue. Tamale. Tell us more about this thing they call the bucket.
We're going to try to make this one and get on YouTube, so we're not going to play any music. So we don't get no copy strikes.
No,
But,
no, none of those.
So, Pinch Face enters the scene at this point.
I've seen Pinch Face
Buckethead's
live.
life, as does Bill Moseley. The 13th Scroll album. Yeah, everybody. Okay, so here's where we have right up until about 99, 2000, when basically the whole world heard about Buckethead, was around the year 2000, was when he auditioned for Guns N' Roses, and I think, or his name had been given around the. They knew he was around, and Axl Rose knew about him, and so maybe, I'm not sure exactly how, but Axl Rose might have found him before he found Axl. Mm-hmm. Maybe there were no auditions. Everyone just knew this guitar player was hanging out. So what they did was Axl pleaded with them to join the band, and Buckethead said, "Well, I don't know. Bring me the broomstick of the Wicked Witch." And so Axl went ahead and went running to try to find the broomstick of the Wicked Witch. And he could not find the broomstick, but he did find a rare Leatherface doll. One that Buckethead had been looking for years, because it's noted that Buckethead, when he's not playing guitar and touring, watches the Texas Chainsaw Massacre endlessly.
Over.
Day after day.
Over and
after
over.
day. Now there's,
over.
6 Texas Chainsaw Massacres. I'm not sure, Night Owl, which one he watches the most. But
okay, so he's a horror fan. All right,
1974 movie.
All right.
But personally, I thought the Jordana Brewster 2006 movie was probably one of the most brutal.
Yeah, you just liked it because of Jordana
credit
Brewster.
for that, but I do. I think she just knocked that one out of the park. But
had nothing to do with the fact that she's hot.
Chinese Democracy Guns N' Roses thing was being put together, and finally they hired Buckethead along with Robin Fink, and a whole host of new creepy characters to join Axl Rose on stage for the resurrected, zombified version of Guns N' Roses, which featured Slash as the zombie Buckethead, and Izzy Stradlin as the resurrected, hair-removed, crazy Robin Fink. And,
quite a hairstyle, Robin Fink.
It was like Steve Adler all of a sudden became, it was definitely the Axl Rose's attempt to resurrect Guns N' Roses. And this whole thing was documented in 2000 to 2002 with these big Rock in Rio gigs, the MTV Music Awards, and a little bit of a tour promoting the Chinese Democracy. But Buckethead, he Guns N' Roses wasn't his bag, even though he at this time got paid a whole hell of a lot of money, most likely one of the highest paid guitarists of all time, to step into a role.
Guns N' Roses is nobody's, no guitarist.
He released Somewhere Over the Slaughterhouse in 2001.
Guns N' Roses is no guitar player's bag, to be honest with you.
And the KFC Skin Piles, and he also released 2 albums with his band Corn Bugs, and a third under Death Cube K, the pseudonym. And he also released Cobra Strike 2, and then Thanatosis, and of course the 2002 Buckethead got a little bit tired of bucketing for Guns N' Roses, so he released 49 tracks, and another album called Electric Tears. And Buckethead at this time hooked up with Les Claypool and
C2B3
formed a quite interesting original band called Colonel Claypool's Bucket of Bernie Brains.
Bucket of Bernie Brains.
Sort of a jam band. Everything that Les Claypool does is a jam band. And around 2003, the Buckethead Land and Buckethead Land 2,
Buckethead Land,
and Pandemonium America, and Thanapsis, and Axiology, and Viggo Mortensen was part of this. You know, the guy from Lord of the Rings, the guy that helped protect the ring to Mordor. And throughout this time, Buckethead was still part of Guns N' Roses, but I think he left the band in 2004. So, correction out to Texas. The creatures from Texas claim that Buckethead was part of this Guns N' Roses thing from 1999 to 2009, which I don't know. There's some stuff on YouTube that says he was with them in 2009. But I would imagine that he was kind of technically with them from about 2000 to 2004. Within that time, he was also dedicated to other projects. But he left in 2004 claiming I don't know if he got along with the band or his lifestyle was he was too interested in doing too many other music projects. But mostly it was the recluse form of life that he lived that made it pretty tough for people to have any sort of communication with him, which most likely is a tough situation. Most practicing musicians, guitar players, and at the same time, if you really think about it, Guns N' Roses, there's just problems. You know, every time Guns N' Roses does something, there's a problem.
Problems.
And but
Got
nevertheless,
it.
Mr. Buckethead, at this point, I think really found his following of people who were not Axl fans, were not Guns N' Roses fans, were not fans. They were strict followers. It was like a underground, complete honoring community of the Buckethead. He had found a sort of niche and a sort of new audience that were absolutely dedicated to collecting any and everything Buckethead. And in that time, I think 3 more studio albums got released: The Island of Lost Minds, The Music Population Override, The Cuckoo Clocks of Hell, and The Spokes of the Wheels of Torment. And Hieronymus Bosch was in the scene at this point. Be unmasked. He was not going to be de-hatted.
Mm-hmm.
And looks like Ozzy didn't like it.
So Ozzy,
He liked Buckethead's guitar playing. He thought he's a great guitar player, but it's looking like he didn't really like he didn't really like the fact that Buckethead was still wearing a bucket. You know,
that happens.
that's kind of like how it goes. So I would say in 2006, Michael Jordan, Buckethead's tune, was like a bonus track on the Guitar Hero 2 video game.
Okay.
Guitar Hero around this time was huge. Everybody was into Guitar Hero, so that was a big boost, I think. A little bit of credit there, but of course nobody knew who the hell Buckethead was still, except for his devout fans. But he went ahead and kept on going, released a couple DVDs, the Young Buckethead Volume 1 and 2, the rare footage featuring a bunch of Deli Creep shows, and then around this time he released the Elephant Man's Alarm Clock, which was the first album I got from Buckethead. I got an album with a chicken breast, the spicy chicken breast.
Yeah, the spicy chicken.
I ordered it without the bread, and I got them to put me a little bit of that ghost Pepper's Ghost chili on it.
Oh, in tribute to Buckethead.
The Fallen Heroes Foundation.
All right.
On Viggo Mortensen still in the scene. Buckethead goes on to play a little bit with Bootsy Collins. To promote
2008.
the Barack Obama election back in 2008. Buckethead hooks up with Bootsy Collins to do a few rock the vote.
Oh, so Bucket voted for Obama. Okay.
And the Fallen Heroes Foundation.
Interesting.
Buckethead at this time, in 2009, I guess, went back and did a couple of guitar parts for the Guns N' Roses Chinese Democracy, which finally gets released. And then Buckethead basically does a big tribute to LeBron James at this point. And LeBron-tron. LeBron-Tom. And then he also does a tribute to Michael Jackson. And in 2010, one more album is released called Shadows Between the Sky. And Buckethead, right after this Axl Rose thing, solidifies his Slash-zombified
legacy
alter image by agreeing to have Gibson guitars make a Buckethead signature Les Paul. And Buckethead Land, the website, gets released at this time. Whatever it is, there's hundreds more tracks that have been released through Buckethead's own personal studio. And even this year,
that takes us up to date. Yep.
I think he's released number 226.
226 albums. My God.
226 new tracks, albums, whatever you want to call it.
That's more music than I care to listen to, but okay. I got it.
They're all in tribute to everything from Van Halen to Randy Rhoads, Paul Gilbert, Malmsteen, Eddie Hazel, Sean Lane, Michael Schenker, Slash, and basically probably a whole host of obscure shredder guitar players. And we could go on and on and on about that, but for the most part, a lot of people associate Buckethead with the Gibson Guitars brand, but really his main guitars, I think, were Jackson's, or Ibanez, a host of weird instruments. But I think most of his sound comes from the MXRs, the Boss equipment, the amps he usually runs. I think I've seen him on stage with these Bogners, but I think he's probably a Marshall,
right, yeah.
Mesa Boogie person. I think he was doing Mesa Boogie for a long time. When I saw him, he had a big Mesa Boogie cabinet. And so everybody out there who's wondering who this guy Buckethead was,
I believe we've explained it.
Night Owl Radio Show. Well, there you have it, Night Owl.
We have explained it.
And
no thanks to you.
His entire history. I think a lot of people don't know that what the gimmick is behind the KFC. That's pretty much what takes people, but they don't understand that he's definitely much more than just a KFC bucket.
There's a real guy under there.
Because a lot of people think Bucket has nothing more than a KFC bucket
alien being
with a wig, and that's not a wig. That's his real hair.
That's his real hair, I believe. Yeah.
And I think the ultimate dream of Buckethead would be to own his own Buckethead Land theme park, where you can go and ride the Buckethead rides, the many rides, the chicken coop ride. Maybe there's a ride that pays tribute to vegans.
Maybe there's a Leatherface ride. Maybe
And
there's a Mike Myers. It's like a magic mountain.
Fascination with KFC.
Where Mike Myers chases you.
And
hey.
They say the mask was born when, after eating a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, Buckethead decided to put a bucket on his head. Now, this bucket might have been a local chicken shop bucket, but what chicken shop sells a bucket of chicken? KFC's the only people that sell a bucket of chicken, so it had to have been KFC.
The original bucket, I believe, was a deli chicken bucket from an unknown brand.
Buckethead's Coop.
The Buckethead Coop
is a strange place filled with horror, lots of horror movies,
comic books,
and
guitars,
lots of masks. Anything from Michael Myers to Leatherface to... I'm not sure about the Freddy Krueger influence, but I am sure that Freddy Krueger had to have been part of the scope
of the Buckethead realm of
a child of the 1980s, because we all know that the 1980s was the era of crazed horror heroes.
Let's
go ahead and end this.
All right, everybody.
Documentary here.
Okay, everybody.
Because
this is the Night Owl.
Hungry. I want to go get some KFC Nashville spiced chicken.
Well, you deserve it. You've earned it. You've earned it there, Tamale.
It's given me a profound craving for chicken.
Go vegan.
And,
look, you should go vegan. It's not a funny topic.
What we have to do. So
animal cruelty is very real. And
so if anyone wants to visit Buckethead Land, you got to go to the West Foothill Boulevard in Claremont, California. And that's basically our take on this mysterious figure in the white mask.
Okay, the Claremont.
Buckethead.
He lives over in Claremont, California. That's Claire Claremont from the Lord Byron days. Claire Claremont when he settled down with Claire Claremont. All right. So there you go, Buckethead. There you have it, Buckethead. We've done homage.